paid for your videos, maybe you should find a real job. American parents love their children less and don't care about them. Beaten for being different. Your favorite qualities are not for Ukrainians. Welcome to the Ukrainian Eyes on America channel. Ukrainian Mary is with you. I've noticed that some qualities you often praise in a person are completely foreign to us Ukrainians. They either don't hold such a high place in our value system or carry a somewhat ambiguous, even negative connotation. For example, you Americans often say that someone is a bright personality and different from others. Such praise is unusual for Ukrainians. As I understand it, you call a person with creative interests, unusual dress, and who stands out from the crowd a bright personality. And they probably have interesting views on life. I thought about it and realized that a similar concept in Ukrainian to describe such people causes more negativity than positive emotions for many Ukrainians, especially among the older generation. Such a person is seen as an arrogant dreamer, detached from real life. They try to stand out because they think they are better than others, calling others the grey mass. Many Ukrainians don't like such people, especially those over 50 who were raised in Soviet times when everyone looked the same and thought more or less the same. Some even have a poor attitude toward people in creative professions. For example, when meeting an older person and saying you are a designer or a blogger, you might hear, "Is that a job? Why do you even get paid?" I have a friend who is a blogger and has been making videos for about 6 years, earning a living from it. But her parents still ask, "Do you even get paid for your videos? Maybe you should find a real job." Even though creative professions are now widespread, many Ukrainians still believe that if you don't toil all day and don't collapse from exhaustion in the evening, it's not a real job. People with an unconventional appearance are also often judged for their looks. For example, last year, news outlets discussed a 16-year-old boy who was beaten on the street simply because a man didn't like how he looked. The second quality that is perceived negatively by Ukrainians is political correctness. If someone in Ukraine doesn't say anything bad about the government, it's more likely to be seen as a sign of fear of the government rather than a positive trait. Ukrainians often discuss politicians during family or friendly gatherings. If you say something good about them, you might get odd looks or even be considered as someone who sold out to the politicians and now tells everyone how good they are. By the way, some Ukrainians don't particularly like the trait of self-respect in people, while it's seen positively in your culture, right? If yes, I completely agree with you. But Ukrainians are more likely to consider such a person selfish. If you prioritize your comfort, you might be told that you don't respect others and only think about yourself. For example, if friends invite you to a party, but you plan to spend the evening at home, choosing your comfort might cause your friends to be upset with you for a long time. Of course, it depends on the friends. Personally, I encountered such situations only in my teenage years, but I noticed similar situation among adults as well. The next thing I want to talk about is early independence, which is common in America, right? In Ukraine, it's customary for parents to support their child at least until they are 18. Some even live with their parents until they are 30. So it's unusual for many to see how early American children start living independently and being self-sufficient. Also, some parents here threaten and say, "Once you turn 18, we'll see how you manage on your own." What? That's how it is in America? With a hint that "stop sitting on my neck." But they will still put up with it until the child is 30 years old. It creates the impression that American parents love their children less and don't care about them. Many Ukrainian parents show their love and care materially, buying everything the child needs, giving them money so they don't have to work. But it's unclear whether this is care or poor upbringing and lack of parental education. Recently, Recently, I read a blog by a girl from Ukraine who moved to America. Her 15 years old son lives independently and earns his own money. In one post, she wrote about the reactions this caused among her Ukrainian relatives and acquaintances. They were shocked and condemned her for being a bad mother because she raised an independent child. I also know that in your culture you try to instill leadership qualities in children, but here this is rarely done because people with leadership qualities often face bullying, even from teachers in schools. Yes, especially children. When I was in school, we had a classmate who was criticized for her leadership qualities. The third thing that can be misunderstood here is the constant pursuit of success. But this concerns only Ukrainians over 40. They consider it an obsession with success. However, the generation of 20-30 years olds is the opposite. Many are obsessed with personal growth, self-development, and financial well-being. I think this is related to the trend of successful success that started in 2010 in the post-Soviet countries. This trend is associated with economic growth during this period, but no one knows for sure. As a result, many people of my generation have conflicts in their relationships with their parents. Ukrainians who were born in the USSR still believe that you can only earn big money through connections in the government or dishonestly. It's interesting how the lack of opportunity to engage in entrepreneurship under socialism affects people.